so we'll get started. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Dr. Connie Lauer, and I'm a faculty member in the Academic Engagement Center. I will be the host of this session on student organization involvement with matched mentors and mindsets, creating a culture of STEM leadership. I am joined in hosting this session today by Linda Moreno, who is serving as the tech specialist. By joining us today, you acknowledge that this session is being recorded and will be shared with TLC-related materials. Microphones will be muted for the first part of this presentation, but we encourage you to post questions and comments in the chat. Also, we have enabled live transcription. If you would like to use it, click the live transcription button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Now I'm pleased to introduce you to Dr. Carolyn Ivy, Department Chair and Professor in the Technology Studies Department. Lisa Sims, Lead Faculty and Assistant Professor of Web and Mobile App Emphasis. Dr. Tahera Dineshi, Lead Faculty and Professor of Technology Management. Michael Hayden, Lead Faculty and Assistant Professor of Information Systems. Siobhan Andrews, a Bachelor Student in Information Technology and President of the Uagc Women in STEM, and she is not able to be with us today. Carrie Seuss, a Bachelor Student in Information Systems and Vice President of the Uagc Women in STEM. And Mayan Colden, a Master Student in Information Systems and Secretary of the Uagc Women in STEM. Now I'll turn it over to Dr. Carolyn Ivy.
Thank you very much, Connie. Welcome everyone to our session today as we step into student organization involvement with matched mentors and mindsets, creating a culture of STEM leadership. So we are so excited for all of what we're going to step through today. And just to give you a sneak preview of it, we're going to step into identifying the need to expand student learning directions beyond the classroom, the assessment tool that we created to use to identify, check with our students to see just what additional learning alternatives were requested by the students and needed in our environment to extend our offerings to students. We'll talk about the benefits and the need for developing STEM skills, the importance of having matched mentors in your learning environment, personal testimonies. We're going to get to hear from student leaders in our organization at UAGC who are involved in student organizations, and we will hear their words. We will hear their personal testimonies. We'll talk about technologies that help to transform student mentor collaborations. And then we're going to wrap up with you, all of our attendees who will be able to participate in our live integrated segment with all of those who are attending. So we have a lot that we're going to be involved in today. Next slide, please. So I'm Dr. Carolyn Daniels Ivy. I am Department Chair of our Technology Studies organization, and we're very proud of the offerings that we have for our students who go through our technology programs. We hit on all of the key elements of learning and what learning should be about. We had all of this in place before. So as number one shows, specialized knowledge, our students gain that specialized knowledge going through our degree programs, career development, increasing their earning potential by going through and gaining additional industry skills and competencies, being a lifelong learner where we provide different opportunities even after graduation for our alumni to come back and still expand their knowledge base and skills, and then as well as enhance professional network where they're able to do their networking. But even with all of that, we knew that we still had to offer more. We still wanted to expand our offerings to our students. So if we go to the next slide, we're going to step into what we focused on to expand those offerings. We did a couple of things. All of these focused on looking at mentoring and what are the gains that we could establish for our students to gain as they're going through their learning process, gaining that additional learning edge for our students. And so as you see the icon there with mentoring, it focused on a lot of things. There are a lot of benefits from mentoring, and other team members will speak to all of those benefits. But let me talk about what we added. We launched our new student organizations, and you're going to hear about these student organizations, what they entail, how the students engage in them. We introduced Technology Town Hall Series, and in our Technology Town Hall Series, we have this every other month. All of our technology students are invited to it, as well as industry companies, career services, our executives in the university. And all of this is so that our students can always be upfront and personal with new trends in technology within the industry, within our technology programs as well. We developed and initiated a research where we created as our assessment tool a survey that collects the data from our students, asking them, what do you want? How can you expand your learning? How do you want that to look? And what could we do to help to meet and get it to the point of exactly what you want? And so we did all of this, and we created a research, and the research is the title of our presentation as well. The objectives of this research is to better understand the beliefs and experiences of our students who are actively pursuing a career in STEM, those who are enrolled in our degree programs. Also, we want to identify areas for enhancing our technology studies student learning support, improving the student retention as well as persistence as they're going through the degree programs, and then as they leave with additional skills where they're very well equipped to be successful in industry. And then, of course, all the recommendations that we receive from the survey, from our students, will all be looked at to implement new directions. So if we can go to the next slide, just quickly looking at some of the hypothesis and direction of the research that we have. The hypothesis of this is that student engagement with matched mentors in online study programs is a significant influential factor contributing to retention, growth, and leadership development of underrepresented students in STEM fields. And there are 3 questions we're receiving back from our students as they complete the survey. 1, can student STEM organizations provide the structure for students to develop a greater sense of belonging in STEM? Does connecting students with STEM professionals and mentors help to support retention of our students? And 3rd, can student organizations be an incubator for the development of STEM leadership competencies? We will share out more as we complete the analysis that is coming in from our students. But first up next, we would like to hear from Dr. Dineshi, and she's going to speak to the importance of the development of STEM skills. Dr. Tahera, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ivy. Hello, I'm Dr. Dineshi, Faculty Advisor for Women in Technology International, or WITI. My talk today is about the need for developing STEM skills in underrepresented student groups. This year's report, the graph that you see, is from the United Nations about the frontier technologies from 2018 to 2025. It shows that the revenue from frontier technologies is going to be tenfold from 2018. However, from this year, 2021, it will double by 2025. Next slide, please. Now, you look at this slide, United States ranks #1 in R&D in the world. We know that United States is #1 in innovation. So what happens is that you look at the column about skills that we need. The skills column, you know that we're number 17. Also look at top 12 countries in 2021. You know that in the skills, we are not much we don't have much competency comparing to other countries. So we need to improve that skills in STEM for keeping up our high ranking, which is number 1 right now. The previous graph showed the demand for supporting these technologies is going to be double of what it is today. So higher education must prepare these STEM workers by 2025. Online STEM education is an opportunity for underrepresented groups. Let us go to next slide, please. This slide shows the result of research conducted by a group of faculty from the University of Illinois at Urbana for underrepresented minorities in online education. The research was conducted before the pandemic in 2019. It monitored students in their first STEM course in an online teaching modality for 7 consecutive semesters over 3 years. The graph shows 883 students in this survey that finished their first STEM course with a grade of A or B. The number and percentage of the students are listed next to each bar in the graph. In this graph, 1 stands for first generation students, U for underrepresented minority, and F for female. Let us look at the graph from the last column to the first. That is the shortest bar on the right, and move to the left. The very last bar, or the shortest, includes students that are first generation, minority, and female. Then the next bar is the remaining students, which are minority females. Then next to it, first generation minorities. The very first bar is from the left are those that were not included in previous bars. So every student belongs to one and only one of these bars. The graph shows the lowest percentage of grades all A or B are first generation minority females. With this information, it's natural to conclude that these are the most underperformed group. But wait a minute. With any study, you have to consider all the variables. If we look at more variables, you come up to a different conclusion. The researchers took the grade for the first exam in the course, and then second exam, and then third exam, and they also considered the students' ACT, high school exam, in their evaluation, in their conclusion. Conclusion was that with similar ACT scores, there were not much difference between the grades of different groups. Then they compared students' exam grades from the very first to the last exam in the same course. The underrepresented groups improved the same as other groups. They improved exactly the same percentage. In addition, throughout the semester, students participated more, they were more disciplined as the course went on. Next slide, please. I would not go through all the conclusion, but what is relevant here is that online education is a path for underrepresented students and may even have benefits of reduced stereotype threats to underrepresented students. Next slide, please. STEM skills for underrepresented students are not only needed, but are pivotal to the US economy. The online education has the responsibility for providing the educational know-how for underrepresented students to gain STEM skills and be included in the future of technology frontier workers. And that's what this study is focused on, helping students by mentoring, student clubs, or other means that we are going to do find out in our research, so that they will be part of the future of the United States. Thanks, and I'll pass it to Professor Hayden.
Thank you, Tahira. Thank you so much. Hello, I'm Michael Hayden, lead faculty for the MASM and BABS programs. Also, faculty advisor for the Association for Computing Machinery and the Drone, Aviation, and Aerospace clubs here at UAGC. I have a small part here today to discuss impacts of no enhanced student mentor collaborations. I have a short sound clip to share of a new Drone, Aviation, Aerospace club membership, of a new club member. FYI, we call it the club. Please play the recording.
I'm a student at the University of Arizona Global Campus, and I feel like the most impact on me, if I didn't have a mentor, would be probably a little less more motivation. Like, I'm motivated, that's not a problem, but having a mentor is much more motivating and easing at mine to actually have somebody talking to you and relating to you while you're going through whatever you're going through, and they can actually relate and be cool with you and help you through your situation as you move on. And as far as being in a club, I feel like that helps out a lot too, because you get to meet different people who also might have felt not didn't have enough courage or confidence to keep applying themselves to whatever they were doing, and the club just makes people keep going. Like, it keeps them motivated. Like, I would miss a lot of communication and interaction with other people. Like, actually getting, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just basically to know that someone else is like relating to you and going through like what you're going through, but they're also trying to strive to make themselves better. I think I would be missing communication and collaboration and communication, because communication, like, it helps out with a lot of different things. Like, just to be able to communicate with people and see their insight on different things, and for them to also hear your insight on different things could make a whole lot of difference between you and them. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Most definitely does. Because what you don't like, it's just like different perspective. Everybody has a different insight and perspective. And once you hear somebody else's, you be like, well, I didn't really think of it that way. But now that you mention it, you know what I'm saying? That is pretty cool. Without an industry mentor, I would be missing, I feel like, professionalism. Like, just to basically be professional. You could learn all that you want, but if you're not actually professional with it and carrying it into the industry, then I don't think it won't work for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can learn as much as possible, but I think having a mentor just makes it more professional with the industry to show you how things actually work once you do get to the industry, because they've been there before, so they know the tricks and the and ways to get around certain things that may seem hard to you. You know, so I would be missing, I suppose, other than professionalism. Yeah, a lot of more. I would most definitely be missing insight. So I think those would be the two at hand, though, that I feel like I would be missing out on without a mentor.
Okay. So as you heard from one student, implicit impacts from no enhanced student mentor collaboration and or STEM club involvement for online students, less connection to other students and the college, maybe even feeling very isolated, less motivation. Motivation is considered to be a key factor to many student success outcomes, missing out on interactions and communication with other students, missing to create their networks, mentors, missing those tips and tricks to perform and succeed in the workforce, less collaboration and interactivity, missing out on teamwork and opportunities to develop team roles and relationships, missing accountability, being accountable to the group, accountable to yourself. Confidence will be lower, a less psychosocial development. Speaking with a colleague just yesterday about this recording, she stated an acronym ACT or ACT, accountability, confidence, teamwork, and is a little insightful because I think these are some of the things that we need our students to have in addition to that knowledge as the student self-described. So with no targeted STEM clubs or mentors, there is the real probability of negative impact in the careers and lives of the students and even the organizations in which they work. The value of mentoring as a method of developing STEM leaders is not in dispute. We need to enhance positive aspect of STEM mentorships and detail effects without mentorships, the negative aspects. And this kind of critical approach to mentoring becomes beneficial not only to those involved directly in that mentoring relationship and in the organizations that they work, like our college, but also the outcomes are perpetuated with increased self-reflection and commitment. Club mentor is not in my job description, but here we are, two clubs, the club and ACM. I work with the Whiz Club, the Cyber Club, the Toastmasters Club, which by the way is a great club too. And I help them with hosting and getting them up to speed to be able to work on their own websites. I lead 2 robotics clubs for my kids, my own kids. So obviously I think that clubs and interaction with the youth is critical and important. And a selfish plug for my clubs, I mean the Drone Aviation Aerospace Club, you can reach me at daa.uagc.edu. We have monthly flight meetings. We have simulated flights. We have watch parties. We work with NASA and companies like Lockheed Martin. We have a student that's actually in Florida right now going through a 40-day Mars simulation. So we work with other teams and develop greenhouses on Mars and problems and solutions with those individuals right here at UAGC. The ACM, let me just say real quick about that. It's one of the top organizations in the world for technology information and innovation, and it's one of the top ones in the world to be associated with. And we have one club right here at UAGC. So for some effects, without STEM mentorships and clubs for our institution, lower technology student career metrics, lower retention rates, lower graduation rates, lower ranking and credibility. So what happens if you don't give of yourself, like that small part of your time, and put that into students and even our community before self? Thank you. Next slide, and I'll turn it back over.
Hi, thanks, Michael, and hello, everyone. As Connie mentioned earlier, my name is Carrie Seuss, and I am the Vice President for the Women in STEM Club here at UAGC. I'm currently pursuing my Bachelor's in Business Information Systems and will eventually continue on to a master's degree program. I am proof that even at 50 years old, the thirst of knowledge will never stop, especially when you have support along the way. There are so many benefits of having a mentor, and I could list a bunch of stats that speaks to those benefits, especially in STEM careers, because there's plenty to choose from. I mean, just Google STEM mentoring benefits and it will return over 9 million results. But think about this. Do those who would benefit most from mentoring think to Google how to find a mentor and will it benefit me? Or I'm struggling in my career path. I could really use a mentor. From my experience, and I can honestly say no. I did not consult to Google to find a mentor. It actually started with a simple conversation with a colleague who happened to be a senior manager in my tech department at work. I was struggling with where I was at in my current position. I was stagnant. And for me, that's never good. Typically spells trouble when I'm bored. Idle hands. Anyway, in that conversation, I explained how certain aspects of the job interested me, but did not offer enough challenge to keep me happy. It turns out this colleague was the perfect person to talk to because he immediately offered ideas and support, and I could see that there was a place for me within our organization, and I just needed to expand my skill set, which he graciously offered to assist. And so started my first mentoring relationship. We both learned a lot from each other over the year and a half we worked together, and thanks to support and influence, I was able to move to a new position that fit my need for challenges and additional responsibility, because I just love responsibility. Even though my first mentor left the company, he is now a lifelong friend that I can rely on whenever I find myself in a rut. With my first experience as a mentee being so successful, I now knew I could search out a new mentor to help me further my career. I understood at this point in my life, I needed to own my career and not sit on the sidelines, hoping for another random conversation to spark a mentor-mentee relationship. This time I had a purpose and I had a good idea what I needed, really good idea what I needed. So I started my own search. Now I must say, I feel most mentoring relationships start with someone talking to you, taking you under their wing, and then the relationships can be very fruitful. But I finally realized what I truly needed in a mentor and then sought to find that perfect person. Now that I was actively engaged in my career path, I found a new mentor who pushed me and challenged me to be better. In fact, she's the reason why I went back to school to pursue my degree. My last bullet on this slide speaks to the benefits of being a mentor, which in my long career at my company, I have finally been able to do. As I participated in a short-term mentoring program at work, I definitely experienced personal growth, and having the opportunity to apply my successes and failures, many failures, but we learn from those too, right? Along with how I achieved my goals, and also providing insights to help my mentee realize their own potential just made me feel proud. I recommend mentoring no matter your stage in life. And the next slide, this speaks to where I am now in owning my career. When I started here at Uagc, or originally Ashford, I was uncertain of how I would handle going back to school with all the classes being exclusively online. As an extrovert who loves to engage in conversation, I struggled connecting, and at times even caring about my classmates, especially during the discussion post exchanges, which are really, really important. My first year was challenging, but I pushed through. Over the first 2 years, I did see many emails and announcements from UAGC about joining clubs or different events. But at that point in time, I just didn't see the benefit in joining when I couldn't see people face to face and have that engaging conversation, or so I thought. But that all changed when I was asked if I was interested in becoming an officer for the Women in STEM Club. At first, I was skeptical, wondering how this would work. How would an online organization run a club? Even with being uncertain, I bit the bullet, and I realized I was ready. I was ready to find out. I could not be more happy that I pushed aside my skepticism, because being a part of our organization has really helped me embrace my education. And I truly feel a part, and I truly mean this. I really feel a part of the UAGC community. I even look forward to engaging with my classmates now in our discussion posts. I am proud to, in my introductions, talk about the club that I'm involved in. I'm always pushing it. But the biggest benefit I found becoming a member of a club is the personal relationships I've created and the opportunity to mentor those who are pursuing careers in STEM. We have amazing faculty leaders, as you'll see as we go through today's discussion. And that furthered my connection to college life, even if I'm not walking to a brick and mortar classroom. The last bullet I listed is a variety of organizations that I am currently involved in or considering to. Michael's Drone Club sounds very interesting, so maybe I'll join that too. But take a moment to look on the UAG's website, and you'll find so many more to choose from. And at that, thank you for listening, and I will now pass the baton over to my fellow officer, Mayan.
Good afternoon/morning to everyone. I'm Mayan Colden. I am currently the Secretary for Women in STEM at UAGC. And I'm here today to discuss my experience with being in a student-led organization. In the past year, I actually decided to go back to school to pursue my master's degree. And this time around, I promised myself that I would be more engaged, involved, and use the resources available to me as a student. I wanted to ensure that I was taking advantage of everything UAGC had to offer. One day I received an email asking me if I'd like to participate in the student-led organization, Women in STEM. And I decided to join because the club creates an inclusive environment for me to engage and learn from like-minded individuals. I also have gained a sense of community since becoming more involved. Becoming involved in a student-led organization has helped me to take initiative to create informative, fun, and engaging STEM events, become more confident in speaking publicly. I've also developed leadership skills. It has created a seat at the table to engage with many professionals in STEM. With UAGC and WIS, they also offer resources to be successful in STEM. I've been directed to other organizations within the school, such as the Career Services Center, as well as the engagement with other UAGC clubs, such as the club. Also, I take initiative to seek out other professional STEM organizations outside of the school, such as the IIBA, which is the International Institute of Business Analysis, and the Scrum Alliance. And it's also amplified my interest in STEM. So I've had many failures, but being that I'm in this organization, I get a lot of support, so it doesn't deter me from ever wanting to leave STEM. Next slide. Oh, back one slide, I'm sorry. I guess my other slide wasn't in there, it's okay. Women in STEM has also afforded me the opportunity to engage with UAGC faculty, as well as leading professionals in STEM. I'm learning and gaining skills that aid in my professional development, which I believe will translate into a successful STEM career. The more engagement and involvement one puts into something, the more positive results one will yield from it. Now, there are some challenges being in a student organization as well, which is time management. I sometimes find it difficult with working full time and my studies to manage that, but I promised myself no matter what that I would be present and engaged in Women in STEM. And also the school is online, so sometimes I find it difficult. I want to do face-to-face in-person activities because Women in STEM has become family to me. So I would like to one day be able to meet up in person with my Women in STEM tribe. I measure my success in STEM not only by the progress I see in myself, but how the participation of others impacts how the participation impacts others. I feel a sense of achievement when I read the comments from the participants that come to our events. And I recognize the confidence that I have gained when I participate in my classes. So the more participation that I do outside, the better it is for me. It translates into my courses. I'm also not easily intimidated by someone I perceive to know more than me. I like to be engaged and ask questions. I now ask the professionals the questions because their knowledge will only make me better. And lastly, I want to leave everyone with a quote: "Unity is strength. When there's teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved." This quote is by Maddie Stepanek. Thank you for your time. And next we have Lisa Sims.
Thank you, Mayan. Hello, everyone. I am Lisa Sims. I am the lead faculty for the web and mobile app emphasis, and I'm also the lead faculty advisor for our Women in STEM Club. And today I want to talk to you about technology and how it can help transform the student-mentor collaboration. As the pandemic has shown us over these last 18 months, technology is important for us to stay connected and to be able to communicate. And when we talk about student-mentor collaborations, technology does not need to be left out of that. And some of the benefits that technology provides in the student-mentor collaboration is it removes any barriers when we had to social distance. Right now, you can find a mentor and it can reach globally. It doesn't have to be someone that's located in your state. And also with our student population that are in the military and they are deployed, that helps as well. So it helps us to expand our reach globally and not just look locally where we are. And then it's also flexible. As we know, we have students that are trying to juggle it all, trying to juggle work and life and children and being caregivers to aging parents. So technology can aid in that and actually help that be more of a flexible arrangement. And then also technology can help students and mentors because, as we have seen with Zoom, technology can provide a platform that many students and mentors are currently already using in their work lives as well as their student lives. And then also another point is the bias. A lot of times in a in the student mentor relationship, sometimes the student can feel a little intimidated by meeting a mentor in a face-to-face setting because they may feel, hey, I don't have the professional clothes. I don't want the person to judge me negatively or if I say the wrong things. And technology can kind of help take some of that stress away because now you're in your environment and you're kind of meeting virtually. So some of that bias can be removed. And then also it helps to connect via technology students and mentors with those that are in their field so that they can get that expertise and that insight into their field before they even start working in that field. So technology is the bridge that can help fill those gaps for students and mentors and help them to be able to come together so that they can have a successful collaboration. And one of the things I do want to point out about one of the disadvantages of technology is that although many people have technology, there's still the digital divide where there's some areas where students don't have access to internet. So we have to keep that in mind as well when we're talking about technology in the student mentor collaboration. Next slide, please. And here in this little chart, I just composed some technology tools that can help facilitate the student mentor collaboration, particularly for the online scheduling. It can get kind of hairy when you're sending emails back and forth trying to schedule a time that's convenient for everybody. So online scheduling applications such as Calendly, Google Calendar, and Simply Book Me can help take some of that stress out of the student mentor collaboration so that each person can share their calendar and they can schedule their time that they're going to meet. And then just kind of takes a lot of that stress out of, okay, when are we going to meet? And then also the video conferencing tools, as I mentioned, such as Zoom and Microsoft Teams or Meet, just allows the student and the mentor to really utilize the tools that they have and to be able to meet each other where they are and be able to talk about those things that they need to talk about so that they can further their relationship. And again, with the mobile apps, as I said, we're meeting people where they are. And FaceTime with iOS devices, Google Duo, and text messaging. I'm a texter myself. I tend to respond a little bit faster via text than over a phone call. So these are some of the things that tools and technologies that can help with that student mentor collaboration. Next slide, please. And I just want to leave you with this quote by John C. Crosby, and it says, mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. And that's what it's all about. We want to push our students in the right direction, and mentors are a valuable asset to do that. And I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Ivy. Dr. Ivy?
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, team. I'm so proud of this team. We wanted to take the last few minutes of what we have to hear from our audience. Our audience come packed with experiences and skills. And so we're going to take you through some questions. And if you want to open up your mic, everyone has mic capability and talk or put it in chat, that is fine. Can we go to the next slide? There are a series of questions that we wanted to ask out to you, our audience. First question, how are you using mentoring at your organization? Which business problems, challenges, or goals does your mentoring directions address? So if you can think about that, and if you want to open up your mic, go ahead and open it. You don't need to raise your hand. Go ahead, open and talk. I think I'm going to just float through the questions. And again, audience, jump in, chat, or mic, any place that you want. So we're going to go to the next question. The next question talks about, do you have student success targets that could be addressed by developing a new student organization or mentoring program? Do you have those? And the purpose behind this question is realizing that as you establish your student organization, set up mentoring programs, they should be aligned with the strategic goals of your organization. And so you should have strategic targets that you want to address. The next question is, what leadership competencies can students develop from your new student organization or mentoring program? Carrie says public speaking. Definitely. Public speaking is indeed one of those industry competencies that are so important in technology. And then the next question is, do you have practices or strategies to share in matching industry faculty mentors to students? And so again, knowing that our attendees come with a lot of experience, feel free to open your mic, put in chat as well, any topics, comments that you would like to suggest. So we want to provide to you a sheet, and we'll be sure that you have access to these questions after the session. And I'm going to walk through them very quickly. These are points that you should identify when establishing your student organization, matching like-minded mentors from a strategy standpoint. First, student body assessment. You should have an assessment tool similar to what we did with our survey. Ask your students, what do they need? What do they want? Build those results from your survey into your strategy. Our student organization and mentor survey revealed opportunities to enhance and list out those targets of what you have to work on enhancement. Student career readiness goals should be part of your strategy. Our student college experience can be enriched by enhancing these student success targets. List them out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 10, whatever your targets are. Organizational goal alignment. Our new student organization and mentoring program will help improve student retention rates by identify that targeted increased direction. And this is one of your strategic alignment areas that you want to track. Metrics. Student job placement rates will be improved by. Track those metrics. In the area of leadership competency development, we will evaluate development of these leadership competencies and list out those competencies that you plan to target for development for your students. Mayan put in public speaking as an example. Here's another suggestion from Mayan: being more assertive and confident are skills that she has gained after being more involved. Those should be part of your strategy. And then finally, evaluation metrics. Identify all of the metrics that you will use to evaluate success from your programs. And so at this point, I'm going to ask all of our speakers if you can come on live with your cameras so we can see all of the faces there. We'd like to say thank you for attending the session with us. My heart just bled with just excitement and proudness as we listen to our student leaders on board here in technology studies, all of our faculty who are supporting providing the alternative route. If you, our attendees, those who will watch this in replay, have any questions for us with how we did it, if you would like to see our assessment tool that we developed, the survey that has been sent out to our students to collect their thoughts, what they want, reach out to us and we'll be sure that you do receive that information. We like to say again, thank you so much for attending. Watch in replay. We will be sure you receive a copy of this presentation slide deck package as well. And to all of our speakers, thank you. Thanks to all of our attendees. You do have a wonderful, wonderful day enjoying the rest of TLC.